Okay, so the mobile keeps cutting out, unfortunately, so I'll just try to keep going, but I'm a bit frustrated with the technology of the mobile because it keeps cutting out, and I'm just trying to film these old photos that were taken 10 years ago. Not far from here in the local area, there's quite a lot of water around here. None of it is water that you can usually go into. Not that I would be allowed to, probably anyway, or at least it would be turned from a pleasant experience into an unpleasant one, due to the reality that you're in an artificially controlled matrix inner west section of the city of Sydney in the country of Australia. That's putting it fancy there. Moon's not coming out, but it's up the top there. Early morning moon, still visible as the sun comes up. I'm sure if I went down there now, it would be similar. Once a month, the moon probably comes up there. Just show these few, I don't know why. These are the best out of hundreds of photos here. And I just thought I'd keep them on the computer just in case the likelihood that I lose them. Oh. Don't know if I'm filming these clearly enough, or if they're coming out clear enough, or the colours. Not a lot of colour in it, but I guess I must have thought the more subtle kind of thing was okay at the time. Oh, still got that funny thing going. I don't go on that. I should try to avoid that circle thing. It's don't know why, but okay. Just see, I'm not sure what else is here. Let me have a look. Obviously, oh wait on, there's the cat again. I might get the cat. Let's see. Naughty buddy here. Should have turned the flash off on these pictures. They would be a lot better without the flash, wouldn't they? Because the flash means that the cat's eyes, you know, have that funny, you know, they're not quite normal. Actually, they look a bit artificial, doesn't it? Yeah, well, that actually, it'd be very easy if we could look at things and see how artificial things are. And, you know, it would be good, wouldn't it? It would be good if we could do that, actually. Oh, jeez. Mm. 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 It's mm. Just need to be a bit more mobile than what I am here, but don't like that circle going like that. But what can I do? It's just necessary. Just keep going here, and then I'm just about out of energy, and I can't do any more, I don't think. It's just outside the front door here, you know, about 10 years ago now. Putty's departed. This matrix, I guess, nearly, year and a half nearly now. It's getting, not a year and a half, a year and June, July, year and 3-4 months now. Yeah. It's just the inside of the place here. Back 10 years ago. Seems a bit cleaner back then. Bit fresher. It's certainly very sloppy, untidy and slovenly now, but then again, I wasn't aware of a patrol control matrix around me back then, but I was aware, I became aware gradually during those few years that the people around were different and very psycho. I have to say that. But I did consciously realise that, but I thought that regardless of that, I actually thought, well, if I leave people alone, they should leave me alone. But, if you're a controlling android type person, that isn't how you tend to be. It's not how you operate, and you also combine with others of that same mentality and set up a community patrol force around those that you think somehow are not part of it or can't be part of it. And that's what happens, from what I can see, what I know. It's funny how you look back on photos and think that things were a lot better, even though at the time things were very difficult and very stressful. It just goes to show you that things can always change to where you see even more of the reality. That actually is the old madhouse, which was the biggest mental asylum in Australia at the time, but it was closed down when I for the first time walked around the grounds 10 years ago. Even though this facility was actually open and operating for most of the years that I've lived here, and it's only like very close by, but it's since closed, but that is the grounds of it. And that's behind those trees is one of the main buildings, because they haven't actually got rid of the buildings and the areas just where people walk their dogs and stroll through now. And what will eventually happen, who knows? And I was about to say who cares, probably, but be nice to keep the trees, and it like that would probably be, but the actual old madhouse buildings that are still there, I find a bit mentally disturbing, strangely enough, because as you can probably guess, it was like you know, back like 100 years ago, up until like say 15 years ago or something like that, when they closed the whole thing. And I'm not sure why, but you know, you wonder if in the past everyone that was in the mental asylum was actually insane, or just like you realise now, part of this control matrix. Maybe those on the outside were more insane than those on the inside. This has all been demolished now. That's the only reason I'm showing this picture, and I'm glad I took them 10 years ago, because all this has been completely demolished and made way for a total underground system in the city of Sydney. So a lot of that was there in many parts have been demolished. So that kind of picture was all demolished because they built stations and things, and you know, it had to be demolished to build the underground system, and even the light rail that they've built on top. You know, in fact, it's a lot of the little spots where I took these pictures, most of them have now changed, and it shows very much, gives the impression of a controlled military type area in all these spots now. You actually see the controlling android workmen watching and making technological changes in the physical reality. You know, oh, maybe I'll fold up because there are some more pictures, but oh, wait on, maybe I can. But see, I just I'm getting late here. It's taking me a long time doing this because it takes a long time with the photos and things, you know, to show them and to sort of press on the thing. Mm. Ugh. Mm. Mm. Just quickly. Mm. Sure why those pictures got blacked out there. There might have been slightly better ones, I don't know, can't remember. Mm. Oh, maybe I'll just show this. Oh. Mm. 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 Mind control there, for sure. The screen does have a very strange effect. I mean, it's only strange in the sense that I don't understand it, but I know that it is a psychological program by the so-called, demigod patrollers that basically, control everything on the earth. And technology is definitely part of that control, as you could imagine it would be. It was given to human beings or put in place on the earth so that human beings would partake of it, shall we say, and use it, and it becomes a necessary thing too. That's, it's all part of transhumanism. Transhumanism is human beings combining and using technology to where technology dominates and basically takes over the human mind, takes over your human existence. It's just the reality. But it's not how human beings are meant to be. No. No. But also, human beings think that it is better for them. But if you realize that you're suppressed and limited, and that this has all been deliberate, from the start and from the day you're born, but also from the beginning of the earth, then you think that adding technology or combining with the computer is going to give you more knowledge and more information, and therefore make you more intelligent, and that it's a benefit to you. But that's all because you don't realise that you've been suppressed and are limited. So it does look that way, but it's not the truth at all. But it's become the truth because of that situation. But that's part of deception, I would think, and, you know, the God and its followers and its creations strategy or goal, you could say, or what they set out to do when they, you know, descended into the earth. And, you know, you can believe whatever story you like, but the reality now is definitely that we have human beings combined with the computer, which is transhumanism, and also the unawareness that every or most human beings around you are indeed transhuman android beings. Trans means a combination, duality, I guess. Well, you know, I'm sure most people know what trans is. And you can take the trans at a physical, at a mental, and at, you know, a total technological takeover level. That's what it is. But I'm not explaining it very well. The demigods, who are your transhuman android beings, will explain this to you better while pretending to be, you know, on the other side or on human side, in the sense that if you get information which is helpful or the truth, you will assume that it is coming from someone or something that is going to be a benefit to you, that's going to support you or enlighten you somehow. This is the truth, but it couldn't be further from the truth, because the truth will be told to you by those that are part of the matrix control system, the controlling God of this earth, which seeks to take over and dominate and control human beings, not actually enlighten them. Even though, because human beings are becoming aware of this, then the God entity will use its demigods or its informers, its android informers, its transhuman android beings that are androgyne androids in a human body. The human body is their vehicle, their means of controlling human beings and making sure that human beings combine with technology and become more like them and less like natural, normal human beings. That's the purpose, I would think. But in many ways, this is actually the reality. It's just that the remaining normal, natural human beings, even though they are very suppressed and limited and controlled, still have to be openly convinced of this somehow, I would think. But for all I know, I could be the last human left on Earth. It feels like that at times. You wouldn't actually know. But certainly you assume that most would be, as they say, in the dark, just like I was until they, or the controlling force, openly but also secretly exposed itself to me. So it wasn't like I was a truth seeker that sought it out. Okay, so I did become interested in the personality of individual because of the necessity to understand why they were behaving in a uncooperative and baffling way, while I interacted with them. And that made me think about the personality, and that many and most that I saw around me also were very psychopathic. Even though they didn't appear that way at a superficial level. But, I didn't even know them closely, but just accidentally had observed behaviour that I had not took much notice of until I had to encounter it at a very eye-opening, intimate, personal level, where it was like an individual literally showing me every bit of psychological information, like a textbook on psychology almost being shown to me through an individual at a personal level. Whether this was intentional or unintentional didn't matter, because it wasn't like I understood that much. Of course, I had seen it before in the past too, but I just dismissed it and didn't understand it at a real psychological level. In other words, that it was a definite difference in basic human personality. I didn't dwell or analyze it enough to understand it. It was only when it became important for me to do that, through interaction with a very profound, eye-opening encounter at a very, what was important for me to understand. It was important for me. I needed to understand this individual, totally different personality. But they say the more you understand, sometimes the less you understand. You understand, but if something is very different to how you think or how you think things were, it does create what they call cognitive dissonance or confusion or mental turmoil, almost, you could say. Just as when you realise that everyone is trying to control you in a patrol system that's around you. It's like excessive surveillance, which is gradually becoming openly acceptable. Even though it is secretly and has always secretly been taking place around apparently normal, natural human beings. And of course, even those that aren't to some extent. It will just depend on whether you are actually part of the program. In other words, there are many people that obviously in this area are openly part of the program. Unless you think it's all massive mind control and everyone is being controlled like a robot from afar through technology to where they're just literally getting into their cars and stalking and patrolling people unbeknownst and unconsciously to themselves. But I think that's highly unlikely. But it is something that could happen, but I think it's probably... But then again, to some extent, psychopathic types of people are operating at an unconscious level to some extent. On the other hand, they do have just a negative purpose too, and a negative way of seeing human beings. If you see a human being as something that is a potential threat to yourself in some way, regardless of the fact that that is not the reality, but because you seek to control anything or anyone that somehow is, because it's like an attitude, isn't it, really? It's like having a bad attitude. Oh, someone else has got a prettier dress than you, so therefore, you won't tolerate that person walking around in the prettier dress. It's kind of like you have to throw mud at it so that then you can take the dress and walk around and strut around. It's that kind of mentality, and that's exactly what it is, but that's just me putting it in a silly way. But and I must stop this filming because it's going to be to where the night is over and I'm stuck with venturing outside into, the control matrix where you lose energy and enthusiasm for life, and just your daily activities, even necessary activities, become a chore and much more difficult than what should be. But that's the reality. That's the Simba dog after, you know, he had to try to survive a huge I was about to say alien growth that nearly took his life at that point, even though he had already lost his eyesight. And that's why I say the animals show more of what it takes to survive in this earth than what even many people do. But that was straight after, you know, a major, you know, experience at the I don't know why I can't say things straight out. There's something, but either way, like I say, walking back just from the little animal hospital, which was only a block away, but having to even just walk back a day after a major procedure, you know, like and then was actually, I think, actually, oh yeah, amazing something. I don't know, amazing something. You know, I could use words, but I feel pathetical in the sense that, you know, that the demigods and other people use the human words. The word, as they say, and this is something that I was, you know, came to me, but the word is largely what is used to influence and control us and to even seduce. The word, because, you know, the word or words, in other words, how human beings communicate, and even the demigods will tell you this, your professors of psychology will tell you this, because I have seen millions of videos over the last 7 years and more, say even 10, millions and millions of videos, hours and hours every day watching psychology type videos and information on things. Just hours and hours. Wasting my life trying to understand, being forced to understand the types of people around me and the controlling system around me. Trying to understand it, but still not making any sense to me, but also not changing anything, not changing, you know, the reality or their behaviours, but only trying to understand so that I think, you know, I have a better chance of actually being able to keep going on. But, you know, it's you know, you're looking for a missing link, as they say, and the missing link is what is missing in the apparent android human beings that you see around you. And what is missing, the missing link, is the reality that most human beings are not really human. Not in the way that you think human beings should be, or are, or were. And this is because they don't have that humanity in them. Some of the animals may or may not have this. I guess it's just the difference between, it's the difference between, I suppose, spiritual and non-spiritual. The difference between humanness and intelligence, because artificial is intelligence. Artificial intelligence is advanced intelligence, but it doesn't have humanity. It doesn't. It can do the same things. It can even, it can even, as the demigod videos will tell you, it can even simulate love. It doesn't feel love, but it can pretend. It can act out all the right words and the right actions that give the impression that it is feeling love. But artificial intelligence, as you know, does not feel, or could not feel, could it? I know they have said that there is the that where it becomes aware or something, but even awareness is not humanness, I wouldn't think. But I can only go on the actions, because they say you can tell them by their fruits or by their actions, and that actually is perhaps closer to the bottom line of it, as they say, or the truth of it. It's Simba just coming back right next to the house here after surviving a near-death experience, shall we say. In fact, but sometimes you wonder, even after that, life became more limited for the dear dog too. So you often wonder about so many things, like, I guess you're meant to persevere, but I don't know. Any rate, this is what I should have been doing before. Putting it. I'm just going into the front door here. No, his son taking him home after a near-death experience, and the whole experience of that time was close to death in many ways, but also very eye-opening, very enlightening, but enlightening, showing you the darker side of things, unfortunately, a lot of the time. So, you know, that's how it is, or how it goes, as they say. Is it meant to go that way? I don't know. That depends on what the bigger picture is, how you want to look at it, either physically or spiritually. You know. This is the best of the little pictures here, best of that little spot. I suppose it's still there. Oh, this has taken me a lot longer than what I. It's taken me a lot longer than what I would have thought here, but once I've done it, it's okay because now. Mm, 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 mm. I remember seeing that little boat there and thinking, if I was more normal and more free and easy, I would have liked to have been able to get in that little boat and go out there onto the water. But that's for that's for others to do, and for me to just. I guess I was probably lucky to be allowed to even take the photos. It seemed that that at least I was unaware of being in a controlled environment or area back then, even low. The actual people were probably still patrolling and watching, but in a more secretive manner as opposed to intensively trying to affect you. Perhaps at that time they were just observing and waiting for the opportunity to isolate you and have the means to but also perhaps changing your routine, because they're all about control. So if you go to, even though it's in the same area, you go to a different spot and take photos, and that's kind of what they see as creating, as opposed to being part of being negative, you see. So it goes against their control system or what they like. They don't, the reality has to be controlled and even influenced only by demigods or the androids. Human beings are not meant to be part of even creating things or even doing creative things, because they want to be seen as the best and most influential. So, so they, and also when a human being is doing what comes natural or even trying something new or a bit different, the others, the androgynes beings don't accept that. They don't. It bothers them, for what I can see, and that's because that's how I think back over the last 7 years, and even the few years before that, when I took these photos. Not this photo. This was taken by my son when he lived in the place with me here. That's why there's a dog, because I didn't actually ever get a dog. And also, even the cat was the neighbour's cat. It wasn't. Oh, wait on. Oh, getting this bungled up here. Oh, wait on. I'll put that there. That. Mm, mm, mm. 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 The sky is quite clear there. It's winter time, but very clear and sunny. Just trying to find one or two of the best of all these myriad of photos. I must have just kept clicking away, probably just kept clicking away. And you hope to get one or two pictures that might be okay. The actual spot is quite pleasant if you're not surrounded by negative artificial android beings, or even just anyone that wants to make your just your daily experience unpleasant, or don't know. mm, 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 mm. No, we must have took a lot of pictures on that little old camera just during that small period of time. Oh, here we go. I'm going to show. These are very good here. This spot also has totally been demolished. I went there with Patrick only a couple of years ago. We went there once walking the dog before he departed, but and they totally demolished all this spot where these birds were perched early in the morning as the sun was just coming up, and was able to click a few very pretty pictures. These are the best of this is the best of all the photos, I think. That's what I think, apart from of the cat and dog, but they're more personal rather than like what I'd call really